This section is important. Why it is important? Because this is the root cause of entire material existence. That's why this is very, very important. In this chapter, Krishna explained how to connect with the Lord through our activities, through Nishkam Karma Yoga, which is working for Krishna, not for ourselves, or working without attachment to the results of our karma. But Arjuna asked a very relevant question. I don't want to get attached to the results, but there's some force which forces me to get attached. You know? And then Krishna explained which is that force. The verse number 37. Which does not allow us to renounce unlimited desires we have. And Krishna termed that force as Kama, lust. Kam esha, krodh esha, rajoguna, samudbhava, mahashano, mahapapama, viddhe iha, viddhe enam iha, verinam. वैरी का मतलब क्या होता है? दुश्मन, शत्रु, है ना? कहते हैं ये जीव का सबसे बड़ा शत्रु है, यानी कि सब समस्याओं की जड़ ये शत्रु है. Actually, this lust makes one experience many embarrassing situations. Like Arjuna is thinking, I am a warrior, I am a Kshatriya, I have defeated so many great warriors. I even challenged Lord Shiva, Lord Indra. But what happened to me today? This is a great battle of Mahabharata. And I am expected to be performing to the best of my potential. And what is happening to me? I am behaving like a coward. I am sweating in front of all these great warriors. Bhishma, my Guru, Kripacharya, my brothers. I am refusing to fight. I am crying in front of everybody. What they must be thinking. हमारे साथ भी ऐसा होता है क्या नहीं कभी कभी? है ना? And then Krishna is advising Arjuna, in this material world, the real battle to be fought is within, not without, not outside. We all are busy fighting our battles outside. In our profession, in our family, social battles, so many battles we are fighting. All outside battles. Krishna is advising the real battle to be fought is within. Unless you are peaceful inside, you cannot be peaceful outside. Not possible. Unless you're happy within, you can only make show of being happy. How are you, Prabhuji? Oh, I'm fine, Prabhuji. Just show off, telling everybody that I'm fine. We have so many battles going on inside us. Yes or no? हम केवल ड्रामा करते हैं सुखी होने का, शांत होने का, but we know in our heart that how much agitated mind, heart we have inside. So many things going on in our heart. So Krishna is pointing out that the real cause of all problems is deep within, not outside. That is the first point Krishna is making. Kam esha, krodha esha, rajoguna. And how does it manifest? Due to contact with the material world, due to rajoguna. And this is the root cause for your anger also, Arjuna. Kam esha, krodha esha. So if you have to learn anger management, you manage your lust. Then you can manage anger. Otherwise, you can't manage your anger. Lust leads to fear. Fear leads to anger. Lust, काम से भय उत्पन्न होता है और भय से क्रोध उत्पन्न होता है. For example, if I have to catch a flight at the airport at 11 o'clock, and I'm supposed to be reporting airport 1 hour in advance, 10 o'clock, only 12 minutes left. So my driver takes out car and I sit in the car and I start. Till the time I reach airport, I'll be fearful. Yes or no? Yes or no? Fear of missing the flight. And if on the way my driver, trying to save 1 minute, crosses red light and he is then caught by a police wala, then I waste 10 minutes on the way. This fear will translate into what? What? Anger. Yes, I'll blast my driver. Who asked you to jump off the traffic light? So the root cause of anger and fear is lust. Some desire within. So if you want to have fear management or anger management, then first you have to learn to manage lust. And Krishna said, everybody, all living entities have this lust factor. Not only human beings. Then he gave example, or he mentioned about 3 grades of lust. Fire and smoke, mirror and dust, and fetus and womb. Everybody, right from ant to Lord Indra. Everybody is trying to, Prabhupada says, everybody is trying to lord it over this material nature. Everyone is trying to become master of this material nature to enjoy. Yes or no? Ant is also trying to enjoy in its own way. Right? All of us are also trying to enjoy. Indra is also trying to enjoy. So everybody is victimized by this. All devouring matlab, mahashanu matlab, one may think, okay, if I fulfill this desire, what will happen? Will the mind become peaceful? No, it's all, जितनी मर्जी खिला दो इसको, जितनी मर्जी इच्छाएं पूरी कर दो, इसका पेट भरने वाला नहीं. Or mahashanu means what? One may think, now if I fulfill this desire, my mind will become peaceful. ऐसा होता है क्या? Tell me in your own experience. If you fulfill one desire, your mind becomes peaceful. Eh? Sunil Prabhu, what happens? No, no. That's why in the next verse, Krishna said, it can never be satisfied. Lust is an enemy which can never be satisfied. Dhruv Maharaj wanted a kingdom even greater than kingdom of his grandfather, Lord Brahma. Correct? उससे ज्यादा इच्छा क्या हो सकती है किसी की इस भौतिक जगत में? Yes or no? हमें तो छोटा मोटा घर चाहिए, बड़ा घर चाहिए. And Dhruv is eyeing at what? A kingdom bigger than this universe. Can anyone have a desire bigger than this? Yes. No, no. So he was advised by Narad Muni and his mother, okay, you want bigger kingdom, you have to please Krishna. You have to please Vishnu, because he only can give, nobody else can give. Brahma came out of his Nabhi only, from Vishnu. So you want something bigger than what Brahma has, only Krishna can give you. So he pleased Krishna. And he advised him how to please Krishna. You chant mantra, you worship, Vigraha of Krishna. And then you can please. So within 6 months, Vishnu appeared in front of Dhruva. And when Krishna appeared, Vishnu appeared in front of Dhruva. Dhruva was completely transformed. He offers a very nice prayer. So I've taken only one verse out of that prayer, just to illustrate this point that nothing can satisfy us in this material world. 4th Canto, 9th chapter, 17 number verse. Can you see? Can you see the slide? This verse? Satya Shishohi Bhagavams Tavapad Padmam Ashish Tatha Anubhajataha Purusharsh Murte Ati Evam Arya Bhagavan Paripati Dinam Vashev Vassakam Anugraha Kataru Asman. My Lord, you are the supreme personified form of all benedictions. What does it mean? Krishna is nothing but a personified form of all benedictions, all blessings, all vardhan. Therefore, for one who abides in your devotion service with no other desire, worshipping your lotus feet is better than becoming king and lording it over a kingdom. So Dhruva is saying, yes, Krishna, I wanted a bigger kingdom than my grandfather, but after seeing you, after performing devotion service for the last 6 months, I have a realization. And that realization is worshipping your lotus feet or devotional service at your lotus feet without any desire is better than becoming king of this kingdom, of this material world. That is the benediction of worshipping the lotus feet. To ignorant devotees like me, you are the causelessly merciful maintainer, just like a cow who takes care of newly born calf by supplying milk and giving it protection from attack. So he's glorifying Krishna. That devotional service at your lotus feet is better than becoming master or king of this entire universe. He experienced this in just 6 months of performing devotional service, but sincerely. Why we don't have such experiences? Because we lack in our sincerity. As simple as that. Dhruv was very determined. 5-year-old boy, but very determined to see Krishna. Even though he approached Krishna for a material desire, but he was very, very determined. Why he was determined? He followed instruction of his Guru as it is. Whatever Guru said, chant this mantra, he chanted the whole day. Guru said, worship the deities of Krishna, he worshipped the deities. So within 6 months, his experience was that his realization was devotion is better than material sense enjoyment. As simple as that. Yeah. So I'll read the purport. Purport is very nice. Prabhupada has written. Dhruva Maharaj was cognizant of the defective nature of his own devotion service. What was the defect in his devotion service? He wanted to serve Krishna to get some material desire fulfilled. That was a defect in devotion. So devotion service means selfless service without any iota of material desire. Pure devotion service is without material form and is not covered by mental speculation or fruitive activities. Pure devotion service is therefore called ahetuki, unmotivated, without any motivation, material motivation. Dhruva Maharaj knew that he had come to worship the Lord in devotional service with a motive to get the kingdom of his father. Such an adulterated devotee can never see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. He therefore felt very grateful for the causeless mercy of the Lord. The Lord is so merciful that not only does he fulfill the desires of devotee who is driven by ignorance and desires for material benefit, but he also gives such devotee all protection, just as cow gives milk to newly born calf. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that Lord gives intelligence to the constantly engaged devotee so that he may gradually approach the Lord without difficulty. A devotee must be very sincere in his devotional service. I'll repeat, a devotee must be very sincere in his devotion service. Then, although there may be many things wrong on devotee's part, Krishna will guide him and gradually elevate him to the highest position of devotion service. So we may be inflicted by lust as of now. We may have many problems in our consciousness as of now. But if we are sincere, Krishna will provide all the guidance. Krishna will make all the arrangement. Like he made for Dhruva Maharaj. Who sent Narad Muni in jungle to guide Dhruva Maharaj? You sent? I too didn't send. Who sent? Krishna sent. Isn't it? If somebody has a genuine desire and he is sincere in his efforts, his endeavors, Krishna guides him directly or indirectly. Yeah. So now we have to get rid of lust. We should know where this enemy is hidden. Isn't it? शत्रु को जीतना है तो सबसे पहले हमको जानना पड़ेगा कि शत्रु बैठा कहाँ. Yes or no? So that is what now Krishna is going to disclose in today's verse. Telling Arjuna, the lust or the enemy which I just mentioned, now I am going to disclose where this enemy is sitting or hiding. Okay. And why Krishna called this enemy as the greatest enemy? Can anyone give this answer? Why Krishna said this is the greatest enemy of the living entity? Please raise your hand and I'll unmute you. जल्दी जल्दी करो, अभी तो 2 classes हो गया. Yes, Naresh.
Because the lust turns it to the anger, and anger is to the
anger leads to
the illusion.
Illusion. Yes. Okay. Very good. Anybody else? Why is lust our greatest enemy? Yes, Anil Prabhu. Please unmute yourself. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, this lust is our greatest enemy because this lust gave rise to anger, and the anger we caught behind with moha, which is degradation factor for human being.
Okay, ठीक है. So lust brings down one's consciousness to lower levels. Okay, but there is one very important reason. Yes, Akant Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The other is that once obviously fear or anger generates because of lust, it leads to rise of ignorance or tamoguna, which leads to drop in the level of consciousness.
Okay, all answers right, but there is one still important answer. Yes, Pradeep Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the lust is the greatest enemy because the enemy lies within yourself. You have to fight with yourself. The enemy is within you only, and if you are not conquered, then it transforms into anger.
Okay, correct. But still, I'm looking for something else. Yes, Sanjay Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी. प्रभु जी, ओवरऑल अगर देखें तो लस्ट इज द रूट ऑफ ऑल इवल्स इन मटेरियल नेचर. रूट सारा जड़ जो है वो लस्ट से ही शुरू हो रहा है. बाकी सब चीजें एंगर, इल्यूजन,
all are right. All are
रूट
right.
जो है यही है.
करेक्ट, रूट यही है, पर करता क्या है लस्ट? यस, विनीता माता जी.
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण.
Lust, after all its effects on us, ultimately takes us away from Krishna, which is not our natural propensity. Our natural propensity is to love Krishna selflessly.
Very good. All are correct, but still something which I am looking for. Answers are correct. Yes, Vishwas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, lust is our enemy because whatever happens, if the lust gets fulfilled or not, it will increase only, and that is why it is the.
Lust cannot be satisfied, so you keep fighting whole life, but you'll never be satisfied. Correct. But what is the ultimate correct answer I'm looking for? Yes, Sunilita Prabhu. Chandni Mata, मैं आता हूँ आपके पास. Wait.
Hare Krishna Babuji. Lust generates that feeling of happiness, illusion of happiness, and then it becomes like itching. आप एक खुशी पालेंगे तो दूसरी चाहत हो जाती है. So lust is the cause of.
Lust is the root cause of all miseries. But what is the starting point? Chandni Mataji, yes.
प्रभुजी, आई एम जस्ट गिविंग इट अ ट्राई. आई एम नॉट श्योर इफ आई एम राइट. ये बुद्धि को नाश कर देती है और फिर हमारा विनाश हो जाता है, पतन हो जाता है.
वो भी ठीक है, बट स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट क्या है? वो रिजल्ट है. In the verse number 39, Krishna said, Avritam Jnanam Etena. Lust covers our pure consciousness. Lust covers our knowledge that who are we, who is Krishna, what is the relationship with him. So we become blind. For example, आप सड़क पे चल रहे हैं और किसी ने आपकी somebody blindfolded your eyes. What will happen? आप चलो. Suppose you're blindfolded in the midst of highway. What will happen? क्या होगा? What will happen? कोई तो describe तो करो ना. Just imagine the situation and yes, चांदनी माता जी.
एक्सीडेंट हो जाएगा प्रभु जी.
हाँ, बहुत लगेगी. आता जाता हर व्यक्ति मारेगा, ट्रैफिक मारेगा, बहुत पड़ेगा. You will become center point of receiving miseries in the middle of road. Yes. Similarly, when our eternal knowledge of our existence, our knowledge of existence of God, our knowledge of relationship between we and God is covered. We become blind. We become completely blind. So in that blindness, anything you do has no meaning. Anything you do becomes a source of misery. Correct? Any attempt to walk in the middle of highway is inviting a misery, yes or no? Similarly, in material world, if you're blinded in terms of eternal knowledge, or your pure consciousness is covered by this enemy called lust, any attempt becomes sinful. Any attempt becomes sinful. It may be a philanthropic work, social service, that also is a sin. समझ रहे हैं? So we are blindfolded by lust. Avritam jnanam etena jnanino nitya vairina. So that is our eternal, what do you call, enemy. Kama rupena kontaya dushpure. And then this lust, Krishna is saying, can never be satisfied. So in blindfolded condition, whatever effort we try to become satisfied, we will never be satisfied by trying to satisfy different desires, different material desires. So this lust has to be taken care of as urgently as possible. Till the time, we are victim of lust, you can imagine a situation to be blindfolded in the middle of, express highway. समझ रहे ना, ऐसी सिचुएशन है हमारी. And in the today's verse, as I mentioned, Krishna is going to explain what are the hiding locations of this lust. Please repeat after me. Verse number 40. ये बाकी सब हैं, पल्लवी माता जी, इशिता माता जी, नेहा माता जी, ममता माता जी, राकेश प्रभु, रेणु प्रभु माता जी, इनके वीडियो बंद हैं. I just want to ensure that you don't miss this important section. Yes. Are you there? All of you? Okay. यहीं बैठो पल्ली माता जी. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Ishita माता जी, are you there? Okay. Indriyani manobuddhir asya adhishthanam uchyate eter vimohyati esha jnanam avrataya dehinam. Indriyani manobuddhir asyadhishthanam uchyate eter mohyati esha jnanam avratya dehinam. चित्रा माता जी वगैरह कहाँ है प्रभु जी? एब्सकॉन्डिंग ना? हाँ, क्लास लगी उनको बोलना आज. I'll come home today. Indriyani manobuddhir asyadhishthanam uchyate eter vimohyati esha jnanam avratya dehinam. Indriyani, the senses, manha, the mind, buddhi, the intelligence, asya, of this lust, adhishthanam, sitting place, uchyate, is called etahe, by all these, vimohyati, bewilders, eshaha, this lust, jnanam, knowledge, avritaya, covering, dehinam, of the embodied. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. Like when you're blindfolded, you are completely bewildered. Similarly, if your knowledge is covered of your existence or relationship with the God, one is bewildered in this material world throughout his life. So whatever he does is only inviting problems. Okay? Are they? So whatever he does in that situation when the knowledge is covered is inviting problem. Okay? Purport. The enemy has captured different strategic positions in the body of conditioned soul. And therefore, Lord Krishna is giving hints of those places so that one who wants to conquer the enemy may know where he can be found. Mind is the center of all activities of the senses, and thus when we hear about the sense objects, the mind generally becomes a reservoir of all ideas of sense gratification. And as a result, the mind and the senses become repositories of lust. Next, the intelligence department becomes the capital of such lustful propensities. Intelligence is the immediate next door neighbor of the spirit soul. Lusty intelligence influences the spirit soul to acquire the false ego and identify itself with matter. And thus, with the mind and senses, the spirit soul becomes addicted to enjoying. Beat back with you. And mistake this as true happiness. This false identification of the spirit soul is very nicely explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 84 number chapter and 13 number verse. Yasyatma buddhi gunape tridhatuke swadhi kalatridishu bhoma ijjati yattirtha buddhi salilena karihchit janeshu abhigyeshu saeva gokchara. A human being who identifies this body made of these elements within his self, who considers the byproducts of the body to be his kinsmen, who considers the land of birth worshipable, and who goes to the place of pilgrimage simply to take bath rather than meet men of transcendental knowledge, there is to be considered like an ass or a cow. Krishna is not telling this to somebody else, telling all of us. So anyone, because of lustful propensities, is body focused, samajh hai na? Who thinks this is everything, this body is everything, who thinks people related with this body are my real kinsmen, my family members. One who thinks, oh, I took birth in Bharat, Mera Bharat Mahan, India is worshipable country, or Udaipur is worshipable place, or मैं राजस्थानी, मैं महाराष्ट्रियन, जय महाराष्ट्र, जय राजस्थान. Anyone who goes to holy places just to take bath and not to associate with devotees who can give him some transcendental knowledge, he is to be considered like an ass or a cow. Means no intelligence. So Dehatma Buddhi means no practical intelligence. Intelligence is only when you are spiritually enlightened. Materially, no one can be intelligent. However, higher studies we have done in India, in America, in Europe, we are, according to Bhagavatam, we are still fool. Like an ass. Ass means who works hard, but gets nothing in return. And what is the root cause? Some desires within us making us act like this, making us work hard like this. And Krishna is saying, what are sitting places of this lust? Your senses, your mind, and intelligence. Indriya, man, or buddhi are the sitting places. So whenever we come in contact with a sense object, which connects with the sense object first? Senses. Correct? पहले mind connect होता है या पहले senses connect होती है? आप बताइए. Dr. Vishwas Prabhu, let's ask a doctor.
Senses, Prabhuji.
Senses connect. So first you see an object, then mind comes into picture. Mind starts thinking how to enjoy the object. Okay? Then intelligence comes into picture, starts planning how to acquire that object. Okay? So first contact, then contemplation. Oh, it will be so wonderful if I have it. And then planning how to acquire it, which is done by intelligence. Now the sense objects first enter your senses, then enter your mind, then enter your intelligence. And contaminated all three. Contaminated means it left some layer of lust deposited in our senses, in our mind, and our intelligence. So more we connect with material sense objects, thicker this layer is of lust. More you watch television, more you watch cinema, more thicker this layer is. Because when you see all those objects, alluring or promising some enjoyment, some joy, then your mind is contemplating on what you saw. And then you start to plan how to acquire. So this advertisement industry is based on this principle. First contaminates your senses, then contaminates your mind, and then contaminates your intelligence. So all such context with material sense objects is nothing but depositing layers and layers of lust in these places. Is it making sense? Nitu Mataji, you're half seen in the video, not fully. Is it making sense, Pradeep Prabhu, Manju Mataji? Making sense? Now the question is how to conquer this enemy. Now we know who is the enemy. Now we know where this enemy is hiding. The next question is how to conquer. So the next few verses, Krishna is now trying to disclose how to conquer this enemy. Okay, so we'll 40 number 1. Tasmatvam indriyani ado niyama bharasharshabha papman tajhi henam jnana virjnana nashanam. Therefore, Arjuna, best of Bharatas, in the very beginning, curb this great symbol of sin or lust by regulating the senses and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. This enemy which destroys our knowledge and self-realization, बोल रहे हैं कि उसको सबसे पहले in the beginning itself curb it. Don't allow it to enter your mind. Don't allow it to enter your intelligence. In terms of senses, only first control, which means what? we have to endeavor to control our senses. We have to endeavor to avoid contact with such sense objects in the first place itself. And that's why we are advised in Krishna consciousness, don't watch television too much. Don't watch only. There's nothing which comes good other than few news. Don't read newspaper too much. Don't read these magazines. Why? Because these are the sources of layers of lust. You know? So similarly, we should ensure our children also do not get exposed. When children are born, their consciousness is also pure. But with all the exposures, by the time they grow up, they become lustful, full of lust. Isn't it? Indians are more lustful than others. पता है आपको? In pornography statistics, 89% of mobile users in India watch pornography on mobile. 89%, which is lesser in other countries. So Krishna is saying, curb it in the beginning itself. Don't allow it to expand and conquer your mind and conquer your intelligence. We'll read purport now. The Lord advised Arjuna to regulate the senses from the very beginning so that he could curb the greatest sinful enemy, lust, which destroys the urge for self-realization. You know, जो थोड़ी बहुत इच्छा है हमारे हृदय में गीता पढ़ने की, भागवतम पढ़ने की, जप करने की, if we are too much involved in sense gratification, that little urge also will get destroyed in no time. So we cannot take that chance. है ना? Does that make sense? है ना? जो थोड़ी बहुत इच्छा जागृत हुई है हमारे हृदय के अंदर to understand Gita for self-realization, if you don't regulate senses, allow it to wander here and there, that urge also will be lost in few days. And we see many examples like this. People come with a lot of enthusiasm. We tell them to do this, they start doing it. We tell them to control this, they don't control, and after a few days they're invisible. That urge which developed but is lost. You know? So we all have to ensure that whatever curiosity or desire we have developed for self-realization, to understand Bhagavad Gita, to understand Krishna, to understand the purpose of life, should remain alive. For that, we have to make endeavor of controlling our senses. Okay? Making sense? Jnana refers to the knowledge of self as distinguished from non-self, or in other words, knowledge that spirit soul is not the body. Vijnana refers to specific knowledge of spirit soul's constitutional position and his relationship to the Supreme Soul. It is explained first in Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, Jnanam Parma Guhyam me Yad Vijnana Samanvitam Sarahasyam Tad Angam Cha Grahana Gaditam Maya. The knowledge of the self and Supreme Self is very confidential and mysterious, but such knowledge and specific realization can be understood if explained with their various aspects by the Lord himself. Okay. Ye lust kya hai? Who is the enemy? Where is hiding? Who is telling us? Krishna himself is telling us. Otherwise, we can't figure out this. With our own efforts, by some laboratory experiment, we cannot find out. It is only Krishna who can tell us, and he is telling us. who is the enemy, where is hiding, and solution also is providing. Bhagavad Gita gives us the general and specific knowledge of self. The living entities are parts and parcel of the Lord, and therefore they are simply meant to serve the Lord. They're simply meant to serve the Lord. This consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. So from the very beginning of life, one has to learn this Krishna consciousness, and thereby one may become fully Krishna conscious and act accordingly. है ना? इसलिए बच्चों को शुरू से ही सिखाना चाहिए, before that layer becomes thickens. है ना? Lust is only the perverted reflection of love of God, which is natural for every living entity. But if one is educated in Krishna consciousness from the very beginning, that natural love of God cannot deteriorate into lust. When love of God deteriorates into lust, it is very difficult to return to the normal condition. Nonetheless, Krishna consciousness is so powerful that even a late beginner, like all of us, can become a lover of God by following the regulative principles of devotional service. Even if you have come late into Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada is saying, still there is a chance. Still there is a chance. Why? This process is so powerful. This process is so powerful. Dr. Vishwas Prabhu, focus. So from any stage of life or from the time of understanding its urgency, one can begin regulating the senses in Krishna consciousness. By the time we've understood it's very urgent, we should immediately start following these principles of devotional activities as soon as possible, without further delay. Devotional service of the Lord and turn the lost into love of God, the highest perfectional stage of human life. So the purpose of life is to reconvert this lust into love for Krishna. How? By following regulative principles of devotional activity. What are these? Chanting, hearing, eating only prasadam. Those basic fundamentals which we repeat almost in every class. Chant your rounds regularly without fail, or else we are exposed. Eat only prasadam, or else we are exposed. Hear every day, read every day, otherwise we'll lose enthusiasm in chanting. Basic fundamentals, don't compromise. Before we lose the urge to become Krishna conscious, which will be the greatest loss in this life. If we lose the urge of becoming Krishna consciousness in the next few months and not become serious, there'll be huge loss in this life. That's what Krishna and Prabhupada is trying to, illustrate in these two verses. Who are the Brahma's first sons, Who was born to Brahma? 4 Kumaras. 4 Kumar bolte hain inko. Brahma told their sons, go and get married and produce children. They said, no, Papa, we will not get married. And they cursed themselves. What? To remain like children, 5-year-old children. They said, we don't want to grow and become lustful. We want to remain child only. So all the 4 children remain small 4 children. Nange ghumte the. Why? They were scared of what? They'll become lustful when they grow. Their senses, mind, intelligence will become lustful. So they didn't want to take a chance. So that is the kind of utmost care we have to take in our life. how to avoid lust and how to turn lust into, again, love for Krishna. So you have to learn for these 4 Kumaras. What is the kind of caution we have to exercise in this life, which has come with lot of, what do you call, austerity. After so many lifetimes, we have received this. We should not allow it to go waste. Okay, now 10, 15, 20 minutes for discussion. Yes, Naresh Prabhuji.
So, Prabhuji, I just wanted to add that in one of the morning conversation, Prabhupada is asking his devotees that, do you know why I have written so many books? Nobody could answer. Then Prabhupada said, just to make you chant Hare Krishna.
Yes. Chanting is the most powerful method of removing this layer of lust. But to remain enthusiastic in chanting, you have to read and hear. That's why Prabhupada written so many books. Thank you, Naresh Prabhuji. Anyone else? Anyone else? Please contribute. You can share what you learned today. Akant Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. No, I think it was good to learn today where the lust sits and lies. Because many times, and I was reflecting while you were discussing this, many times I think we try to kill the lust through our intelligence. But then the problem is sometimes if it is sitting within intelligence itself, then the only way to get cleansing is through chanting Hare Krishna, is what I realized. I think that's the only, because many times I think there's this tendency, now I have developed this desire of something, let's say a promotion or let's say anything in life. But then we say, okay, I think it will come at its own pace, etc., etc. And then we try to kill it through our intelligence. But then if it is sitting in the intelligence itself, then we're trying to kill the enemy through an enemy, something of that sort, right? So I think that was quite a reflection. The only way to get rid of any lust, any desire is to chant the holy name regularly.
Yeah, you're right. So how do we engage all 3 practically? Senses, as Krishna said, we should try to regulate. Like we have 4 regulative principles, isn't it? There's a controlling senses. Don't eat meat, don't, intoxicate, don't gamble, don't have illicit sex. These are all regulative principles to control senses. Second is controlling mind is through chanting the holy name. And how do we purify intelligence? By reading scriptures like Gita and Bhagavatam. So we have to engage all 3, somehow bring them in touch with Krishna. And then they'll become free of lust. Because Krishna is the most purest element, most purest. So when Krishna comes in touch with eyes, it purifies our eyes. It removes lustful propensities. When Krishna comes in the form of prasadam and touches our tongue, it removes lustful propensities of our tongue. When we hear Krishna Katha, Krishna enters through our ear, it removes propensity to hear nonsense stuff. Similarly, when we engage our body in service of Krishna in different ways, like paying obeisances, offering flowers, cleaning temple, then desires of this body go down naturally. So somehow we have to remain in touch with Krishna conscious activities. We have to engage all our senses in service somehow to purify and convert lust into love.
It does. And I just remember an incident, Prabhuji, whereby somebody cheated with me, right? And I felt very bad. And initially, obviously, it was a bit of fear, and then that got converted into an anger, and that anger, if I reflect back, did reside in my mind and intelligence for a very long time. It was almost, I think, around maybe an year or so. But since the time I started chanting, I've found it did not go away immediately, but I think gradually, I honestly, I'm almost if I remember, recollect, 90% it is gone. I don't have any grudge, any anger against that individual. It's all, there's a little bit still, I would say, deposits of it, 5-10%, but I'm working on it. So it does help, I would say, gradually.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, anyone else? You can raise your hand and I'll unmute you. बोलिए, बाबूलाल प्रभु जी कुछ कहना चाहेंगे? ओके, मुकुल प्रभु, दया माता जी, विश्वास प्रभु, नीतू माता जी, मंजू माता जी, like to say something? विश्वास प्रभु जी.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. प्रभु जी, बहुत अच्छा लगा आज का सुन के, मतलब जो एक्सप्लेन करने का तरीका है, मतलब इसमें कि किस तरह से मतलब लस्ट इंटर करती है और किन किन स्टेप के थ्रू इंटर करती है, सेंस, माइंड एंड इंटेलिजेंस, और कैसे उनको अब धीरे धीरे ज्यादा समझ में आता है कि चैंटिंग क्यों जरूरी है इन चीजों को पढ़ के.
चैतो दर्पण मार्जनम, है ना? चैंटिंग का मतलब क्या है? चैतो दर्पण, माइंड रूपी जो मिरर है उसको क्लीन करना, है ना? क्लीन करना मीन्स व्हाट? क्लीनिंग लस्ट, लेयर ऑफ लस्ट. And when you clean the mirror, you can see yourself, isn't it? Clearly, who are you? है ना? Currently, we know, this is what Prabhupada is explaining, difference between ज्ञान and विज्ञान. अभी हम सबको ज्ञान हो गया कि हम आत्मा है, शरीर नहीं है, लेकिन विज्ञान नहीं हुआ है, रियलाइजेशन नहीं हुआ है, साक्षात्कार नहीं हुआ है, क्योंकि लस्ट है, अभी भी है. जब तक वो नहीं निकलेगी, रियलाइजेशन नहीं होगा. जब तक शीशा साफ नहीं होगा, हम देख नहीं पाएंगे कि हम वाकई में आत्मा है. दैट इज रियलाइजेशन. So the gap between knowledge and realization is bridged through the process of chanting, you can say. Okay. Thank you, Shastri. Okay, anyone else? Yes, Ishita Mataji, speak out. Okay, you're traveling, no problem. Anyone else? Yes, Anil Prabhu. Unmute कीजिए.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, what we come to know from today's the discussion is, जैसे इंद्रिया, मन तथा बुद्धि, ये सारे का निवास स्थान काम के अंदर है.
और काम का निवास स्थान इन सब में है.
हाँ, काम का निवास स्थान है प्रैक्टिकली.
हाँ. और
इनके द्वारा ही लस्ट और काम जीवात्मा के वास्तविक ज्ञान के कवर करके और इन्फ्लुएंस कर लेता है. तो पहली चीज जो हमारे कांटेक्ट में आती है इज एन ऑब्जेक्ट. So object and senses are these two things where we need to start regulating since from the beginning. Because अगर शुरुआत से इन दो चीजों के ऊपर हम एक्ट करेंगे, तो हमारे से जो sinful reactions करने की जो propensity है, which is creating out of this lust, हम वहां से जो उसकी bigger layers को create नहीं कर पाएंगे. And this can only be treated out of by regular practicing of chanting worshipping and offer prasadam. So again, it is we are getting a clear-cut answer of our sins, how we are committing crimes, and the cause of committing crimes is just this lustful reactions.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. So, in the beginning, it might be difficult to control senses, but when through chanting, prasadam, hearing, reading, we get joy, then that control becomes easier. Then naturally you repel, such sinful propensities. जैसे शुरू में आदत थी, मांस मीट खाने की या नशा करने की, शुरू में बहुत प्रयास करना पड़ा उसको छोड़ने के लिए. But when you get joy, high taste in devotional activities, then it becomes very easy to renounce these things. It is no more difficult. For now, there is no attraction to these things. There was a time when there was so much of attraction to these things. Now there is no extra endeavor required to control senses. They are automatically controlled. Why? They are in touch with devotional activities consistently. So anything you do in devotional life, be consistent. Whether it is chanting, eating prasadam, hearing, reading, be consistent. That is very, very important. Then controlling senses will become like a cakewalk. Will not be difficult. Will become natural. Yes, anyone else? Last point before we close. Yes, Vinita Mataji.
Prabhuji, today's session was very interesting, and I would say sort of a revelation, because when it says the real battle to be fought is within, we keep hearing this all the time. All our life we hear it. But then how nicely it has been pinpointed that what exactly it is, and step by step it is said that this is what the battle is inside. These are the enemies, and how to fight them. There is a proper step-by-step process. So it's a sort of a realization today, and then we can work. For us, it is easy to work upon it when we know the whole process, the steps.
Yes, that's why Gita is special. That's why there is no knowledge which can be compared to Bhagavad Gita. All of the knowledge will tell us how to fight battles outside. But those battles cannot be fought unless we fight battle inside, which is what Gita is pointing towards. Thank you, Mataji. So I hope everybody is chanting. I will not go and ask everybody. Please chant your round sincerely. Keep increasing your round sincerely. Eat only prasadam. Eat only prasadam. See, if tongue is controlled, remember, through chanting and prasadam, other senses will be very easy to control. So first conquer your tongue. By chanting every day and ensuring that you eat only prasadam. If you need any help on these fronts, you can contact me personally. Okay. Plus, do not let this go. यहाँ से गया और यहाँ से बाहर निकल गया, and then next week again we are back to square one. Please enliven your instructions in your life. Then it is useful. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gauru Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Vancha kalpataru vesha kripa sindhu vaevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. Thank you very much.